vibration for you.
Hello and welcome to Scoping Out Tools. So this introduction is actually from the future after I've fixed the wood lathe. So I definitely know this is the final part, part 3, and I don't actually show my measuring up, but all my measurements were accurate and I was able to actually source it, but not from the source that I thought I would be able to get the parts from. I will cover that in a minute, but what I'll be doing is I was taking videos as I went and worked things out throughout the week, so there'll be a couple of little videos of me realizing that I'm not able to get the part from the supplier that I thought I would, and then working out who else could actually supply the parts, which may be useful if anyone else has a second-hand lathe as well. So let's get on with the rest of the video and let's see about fixing it. Mistakes were made, but in the end I did get a working wood lathe. Axminster has got back to me. They do not supply that pinion anymore. So I have got a couple of solutions. One, I've just sent an email off to Charnwood, who look to be still making a similar product. And I don't know if they would be able to actually supply the handle system and at what cost. The other solution is to actually use some spacers, and that should hopefully use the good part of the gears. And if that is the case, I will show that in a bit of a diagram. The actual pulleys, again, Axminster don't have them, Charnwood do. They look to be the same size, so I should order those pulleys from them. And however, their bearing is different, and I think it might be just a change in modern model. So I think I will get a bearing from RS Components or something, which should have the, I now have the correct outer and the inner one, and hopefully that'll all fit together. Or that's the plan anyway. I am just off the phone with Dave from Charnwood, and I asked them sort of if they did have a speed lever in stock and if they could confirm whether it was a 14 teeth and 16mm in diameter. It was. They have it in stock and it's actually a pretty good price. So I've just ordered that and a pulley system with it. I had to phone up about the bearing because their bearing is a 35 internal diameter, a 62 outer. My bearing at home is a 55 outer, and I thought it was only a 32 or 33 internal. So I need to just double check that anyway, just to make sure. If it isn't, I need to try and find this new bearing from someone else. There was also some circlips that I think are missing based on our discussion, and so I need to maybe see about sourcing them. He's going to actually have a look in his little junk box, and if he does find something, he's going to throw it in. So really appreciating the service also from Charnwood as well.
Alright, so I've got all the parts. So this is my damaged part from Axminster. Axminster couldn't provide this part, so I got this from Charnwood. I phoned them up, explained the situation, Charnwood here, just in case I rotate this around. Explained the situation, they were quite happy to supply it. Still 14 teeth, exact same size. This has got 10 different positions, this has only had 5. Then I had to get new pulleys, and the difference though is, although this is 24.5 or 24 mils, and they just meet into that way, although they're 35, it means that my old bearing couldn't fit, but their system has a 62mm outer bearing and I've only got 55, so I had to buy these from Amazon. So I did check, and it's nice and flush to actually get it. I'm not going to put it on just now just in case it doesn't get off. And then this one I've just checked as well, and it fits in fairly easy there. Again, I've got to clean this first. Then a couple of nice things that Dave from Charnwood gave for free was the circlip for this side. And once I've fitted it, I'm going to show you how it sort of works, because I didn't necessarily know what the purpose of this was, and now I understand it a bit more. And he also threw in a couple of screws, because as you might have saw in the other video, that one of the screws was actually missing. And again, they threw them in for free, so very much appreciated. So I'm gonna just clean this out, put this in, and then I'll start doing a little bit more of cleaning everything else, and then I'll fit it all together. And this is going to be the start of my first mistake. So I'm giving it a bit of a clean up, and I then sort of gave an idea that the bearing would just slot on. And I thought, oh, maybe I've just got to get it over the rim a bit. So you can see me taking it off and giving it a try, checking it, adding a little bit of graphite powder just to try and make it slip on. All these different things. And I'm trying it on the other side as well, just meeting resistance each time. This is a mistake I made, and I believe the other person fitted it in the same way. That what they didn't do was they didn't actually give it a little bit of a polish down so that it would slip through. So my mistake here is I'm thinking that all I've got to do is take the machine hammer and just tap it a bit enough to get past where the circlip is going to be. It ended up taking me about an hour as I'm tapping it back and forward. I should have stopped. I should have actually polished it off, and then it would have slipped in, and I do that later on with the actual lathe. Okay, I did have to use a hammer. I've got this now locked in place. I'm now going to take it over to the lathe to actually put it together. But now the bearing holds it in, and this should hopefully nicely spin. So I need to clean over there. So let me actually just jump to here. So just to show you what's happening, these go in. I pull on a part here, which I'll open it, pull it back, and the drive belt will actually push it, and then when I release this bar, the spring will push it back, and the belt will then force up. So hopefully we'll see that in action. So I'm just giving everything a clean, just checking to see if the motor part needs cleaned, giving a clean of the key as well, which is the little bar that gets added to the spindle. And I'm now just cleaning through the hole where the rack goes through. Now I'm going to be testing the rack with the actual lever, speed lever, and I'm sort of giving it a try, and I'm thinking, yes, this is going quite well. But then I actually do notice at some point given a resistance, and so what you'll see is as it comes in, it just sometimes is catching, and I'm not entirely clear why it is catching. So this is me inserting it a little bit more,
and I'm trying to decide how much it needs to get put in with. Now, I since actually worked out, and I might talk about this at the other part of the video, that when the lever broke off, it left deposits inside the rack parts, and so the grooves or the teeth were not as deep; they were a lot more shallower, and it was that was actually causing it to skip. So what I did was I took an awl and just scraped out those parts, and it actually managed to work. So you can see I'm getting it caught at about the mid position, and I'm conscious that that was where it was catching before, and I had thought it was where it was getting rounded off. But as I say, I managed to actually get it all the way out and try it. But at first I was thinking, is it in the wrong position? Is it what's going on? But eventually, as I say, I found that out. So once I was happy with it, and this is me just trying out different positions. Once I was happy with it, then that's when I decided that I would start putting on the pulley system. And the pulley system was another issue that came up, because I thought it wasn't actually going to fit. Well, the reason it wasn't going to fit was I had to do a little bit of polishing. So now I'm trying to work out where I should be having this set. So I think what I have to do is I actually have to put on my actual spring to actually work out where it is, but not attach this yet. So first things first, let's I'm just going to take that off just now, and I'll pop on the first part. So I need my key back on, and it's going to be there, and let's just see if this fits on now. So put it the right way around helps. And never actually thought about this being maybe a bit complicated, so let's just put some graphite powder on this. And want to do it as dry as possible. That might not be right, so that should be now my I've started the polishing here, and this is where I should have done the outer polish. At first I thought I just had to get it over the groove of where the circlip was, but then I realised that I had to do it so that it would slide along the whole barrel. This is when I realised the mistake that was made by possibly the previous person, where they might not have spent the time polishing it on, and so there was a little bit of give, and that's probably why I wasn't able to easily take the sample holder, not sample holder, the pulley system off. I also realised that I should have polished the outer diameter, and that's also maybe why there was no circlip in the previous one, because the circlip was actually missing. And I think it's because they probably did the same thing as me and just forced in the pulley into the bearing. So mistake learned, that from now on, whenever I'm replacing one of these, I'm going to be actually polishing it so that it slides on. Lesson learned, very good. So anyway, so I was using actually the bar from the locking mechanism, and originally I was using the 400 grit polish. I then moved over to 240 grit, and anytime it was used up, after normally about a minute of polish, I was actually changing the paper around, and then each time I was just checking that it was actually working. After that, I sort of put on the key, lubricated it, and then I was able to then slide it on. Did the exact same thing of the polish of the other pulley system, and then that seemed to be sorted. Popped on the circlip, and after the circlip was done, I then attached the spring. There was a few little bit of issues with the rack, which obviously is what the speed control moves back and forward. That's when I think it was then that I actually realised that there was some little bits sticking out with the on the awl, and you can see I've taken it off because I realised that I had actually damaged that internal hole, so I was just taking the burr off until the rack was able to get attached. You can see I was wondering about trying to find out where that screw was that I had earlier. Then I'm just sort of checking that it does go in position, put the second one on, and then I was ready to really now set up before the bolt. Now I went to use the little Allen screws and actually realised that this was the whole metric versus imperial. So my old pulley systems were imperial, the new pulley systems were metric for the actual screw holes. So after trying out the little Allen screws, realised that it's not possible, so I changed to actually some metric bolts, which I think was M6. Once I was happy with that, getting them tightened just to make sure that they're located at the slowest speed, I then thought I was now ready to just give a bit of lubrication and now add on the belt, which was actually surprisingly easy to actually put on once I got it in the high speed setting, and then I just worked it ever so slowly on the actual motor side, and then that was us good. Okay, so that's the belt on. Let's take off the gloves because it's going to be spinning. Right, I am standing at the back here, so I shouldn't get hit by anything. So this is the slow setting. The band is high up. When I switch to the fastest setting, it will move over to here, and the band will drop down, the belt will drop down, and to keep the tension, this will move further up, which increases the speed. So let's just put it on. So slow speed. And before, I used to really work at this, but now I just move it like that,
And you can see the speed increases, and that's the fastest speed. And then once I'm ready, I take it back down, middle speed. I can lock that off in place, or I can go back down to the slow speed, and that's where I will actually turn it off. And that is it done. So I have repaired my lathe, and I'm very, very happy. So big thanks to Charnwood, Dave at Charnwood. If without them, I would not have been able to actually fix it, and it was relatively low cost repair. It was £26 for the rounded off bar, and then the pulley that I actually broke on the system when it seized, that was about £45 for the pair of the spindle ones, and everything else seemed to be fine. And Dave also threw in that circlip, and which was actually missing on my original, and that's maybe some other issues, and also the little screws to hold it in place, because as you saw maybe on the first video, it was a wood screw instead. So thank you very much for watching. Now I'm going to get back to turning, and hopefully you'll join me more as I'm scoping out tools. Bye for now.